All right, so we're going to dive into the EU's big, groundbreaking AI Act. But look, we're not just going to skim the headlines. We're going deep, way inside, to find its hidden engine. You know, the part that actually takes all those lofty principles and turns them into real-world code and compliance for developers.
I mean, think about it. This was the massive challenge lawmakers were up against. How do you even begin to regulate a technology that's changing by the second? A static, rigid law? It'd be useless before it was even published. So their answer, their big bet on a future-proof solution, well, it all comes down to one single, really powerful article.
And that's Article 40. Now, you probably haven't heard as much about it as, say, the rules for high-risk AI, but trust me, this is the practical blueprint. It's basically the instruction manual that tells companies, okay, here's how you actually build AI that follows the rules. It's the critical bridge between dense legal text and, the technical reality of coding.
So where did this whole thing come from? Well, it all started with one pretty simple, but honestly kind of brilliant legal concept.
And this is it, the core idea, presumption of conformity. Think of it like a safe harbor for developers, right? Instead of them having to prove from scratch that their AI system ticks every single legal box, they can just follow an official, pre-approved technical recipe, what's called a harmonized standard. If you follow that recipe, the law just presumes you've done everything right. It's a huge deal because it gives companies a clear, streamlined path to get their products to market legally.
But here's what's so fascinating. Just look at how dramatically this whole thing evolved. Back in 2021, Article 40 was this simple, pretty focused idea just for high-risk AI. Fast forward to 2024, and wow, it's blossomed into this massive, comprehensive framework. It had to deal with the explosion of general-purpose models, like ChatGPT, and suddenly it had to include rules for getting feedback from all sorts of groups, and even sustainability goals. It really grew up, fast.
And of course, that kind of transformation, it didn't just happen overnight. Nope, it was a multi-year journey of, well, a lot of debate, a lot of changes, a lot of adaptation. They kept adding these crucial new layers to the blueprint as everyone's understanding of AI just got deeper and deeper.
You can literally see that journey play out right here. In 2021, it's just that basic idea. Then, a year later, in 2022, there's this big realization, hey, these technical standards have to reflect our core values, and we need to hear from more people. Then, bam, 2023 happens. Foundational models just explode onto the scene, and lawmakers are scrambling to figure out how to handle these new AI titans. Finally, you get to 2024. And the blueprint is set, complete with new things to worry about, like the environmental impact of it all.
Okay, so who actually writes this all-important rulebook? How do you get from a line of text in the AI Act to a technical standard that a software developer can actually sit down and use?
Well, the process is designed to be really collaborative and pretty rigorous. It all kicks off with a formal request from the European Commission. From there, these official standards organizations, they're called ESOs, they get their expert committees together to draft the nitty-gritty technical stuff. But here's the crucial part. That draft doesn't just become law. It goes out for a wide review for feedback before it's finally adopted and published as the official benchmark.
And honestly, this might be the most important part of the whole process. The big takeaway is that this rulebook isn't just cooked up by some bureaucrats in Brussels or a handful of engineers from big tech. No, the whole system is specifically designed to bring a lot of different voices to the table.
And I mean, just look at who gets a seat at this table. You've got the official AI board, which is the member states. You've got an advisory forum for industry and academics. But then you also have civil society organizations fighting for fundamental rights, people representing small businesses who are worried about getting buried in rules, and even social partners, think labor unions, who are looking at how AI is going to impact workers. This whole multi-stakeholder thing is designed to make sure the final rules are a real balance of everyone's interests, from making money to doing the right thing.
Okay, so let's bring this back down to earth. How does all this, this very technical, procedural stuff actually connect to the AI that you and I are using every single day?
Well, like with anything this big, trying to create one rulebook for all of AI, it's a classic trade-off, right? On the plus side, you get enhanced safety, you give companies that legal certainty they crave, and you can even promote fair competition. That's all great. But there's a flip side. If the standards are too rigid, you risk stifling innovation. You could create massive costs that crush smaller companies. And there's always the danger that the big industry players just take over the whole process, or that the standards become outdated the minute they're published.
And this quote, I think, really gets to the heart of the philosophy here. The AI Act isn't about stopping AI in its tracks. It's about trying to find that middle path, It's an attempt to steer development, to literally embed our values right into the technology's DNA. The goal is to make absolutely sure that AI is serving human needs and not the other way around.
Which, of course, brings us to the billion-euro question, doesn't it? Is this super carefully constructed blueprint actually going to be able to keep up with the insane breakneck pace of AI? Can it really be future-proof?
Now, the people who designed the Act, they knew this was their biggest hurdle. So they tried to build in adaptability right from the start. The law itself admits that AI is a fast-evolving family of technologies. This whole framework isn't meant to be set in stone. The Commission is actually legally required to create and update these standards without undue delay. So the system is designed to evolve.
And if all else fails, this number, 4 years, is the ultimate safety net. The AI Act requires a complete top-to-bottom review of the entire framework, including all these standards, at least every 4 years. It's their way of making sure the rulebook doesn't get left in the dust by the technology it's supposed to be governing. It's like a built-in reset button.
And so that leaves us with the big essential question at the end of all this. The EU, they've built this incredibly sophisticated, adaptable, collaborative machine for writing the rules for AI. But in a field that completely reinvents itself every few months, can a blueprint designed today really guide the AI of tomorrow? I guess the success or failure of Article 40 is what's going to give us the answer.